welcome to Positively Aunt Chrissy. I am Aunt Chrissy. It is May something. Hold on, let me check my Fitbit, which I'm not wearing. I should have done that overnight. The 13th. Just got up, which is kind of a miracle considering I haven't been getting up until 10:30 every day. Tomorrow, I'm back to it. Man, I need my nails done. I hate looking like I have man hands. So during this COVID, one of the things that I did take advantage of was some reading. Now, with my husband and I's impending, and I know I play with my hair all the time, but I'm a hairdresser and this looks like a mirror to me, so I'm always making sure stuff's not out of joint, and if anything, it needs to be washed and colored because I haven't been able to get my hair done either. Anyway, one of the things I've been able to do is read some. And I've read a few years back, well, many years back before my first divorce. I divorced in 97. And at the time I had a 10-month-old, a 2.5-year-old, and a 4-year-old. And just circumstances with the divorce and just trying to find my own place to live. And my clientele was not established 100%, so I was bringing home probably about $1,200 a month at that time in 1997. I was able to find a house to rent that was $600 a month, and the rest of it I just did everything on the cheap. Oh, so sorry. I just woke up, got coffee, got back into bed, and my companion got back into bed as well. And so I did everything on the cheap, like my kids' favorite TV shows at the time were on PBS. So Lunette and Molly and Mathica and the Kratt Brothers. My youngest one was young enough to be part of Teletubbies, or at least liking Teletubbies. Sesame Street and the like. I think they redid the Electric Company, if I remember correctly. But anyway, so I was poor as a church mouse, and I used my tips to buy food. So we ate a lot of tuna casseroles. I'm from Iowa originally. Clinton, Iowa, if you'd like to look it up on Google. We're known for nothing except for Flavor Flav opened up his flagship fried chicken place about 10-15 years ago. Didn't work out so well. He closed it after 3 months, but why Clinton, Iowa, I don't know. There's other things that were popular at that time, or not at that time, excuse me, but people that came from there. I believe something had to do with, and very, to us, old, but Lillian Russell somehow. I don't know if she was from Clinton or a film actress from, I guess, the 30s and 40s maybe. Felix Adler, who was a clown. I know that Terry Bradshaw lived in a neighboring town, Comanche, when he was in 3rd grade. So yeah. Anyway, little town on the Mississippi River. The 6 miles of the town on one side was lined by the Mississippi River, which was nice. We always had a boat. But anyway, why was I talking about Clinton? See, this is what happens. Many tangents of this, that, or the other when you're half asleep. I know I was talking about books, but I don't know why I put Clinton in there. Anyway, divorced in 1997, and married my current husband, who was my high school sweetheart, in 1999. So we've been married for maybe 21 years this year. But the first time I actually had to file bankruptcy, I had to take my kids and find a place to live, and just couldn't have any bills to go with me because I couldn't afford it. And that included the house that my ex-husband and I had. So I lost it all except for the children. So, you know, rising up from the ashes like you do as a phoenix, and it was difficult, but it was what it was, you know. And so my husband and I got married, and I had a salon started in 1990, no, 2000, 2001, 2001. And I had it for about 7 years. And at the end of that, my kids were starting to get older and, starting going into middle school and all that. And as a mom, I decided that it was more important to be with them and be around during the critical times, like, after they're out of school and keeping order and all that, than it was to hold the shop. So I ended up closing up shop and went back to working for someone. And not long after that, my husband had gone out on his own and started, because my husband is a master electrician and he holds all the masters as far as the trades. The bearded one, if you look at him up on YouTube as well, he holds all the trades for all the masters for all the trades on his journeyman, or not journeyman, but the GPOR card that we get for our trades. And so he had his own construction company, and I ended up actually leaving the job I had to help him in 2007, and then the bubble burst. So we got socked with, all kinds of stuff, because people weren't using their equity to build and do, and weren't building, because his specialty was bathrooms and kitchens and small remodels, and he did put up a Jiffy Lube, but everything just kind of fell apart. So unfortunately, we had to file for bankruptcy to be able to get out from under it, because at the time our oldest daughter was getting ready to go off to college, and we wouldn't have been able to do anything to help her because we were, drowning in all this stuff. So one of the things that I did after that was started reading up on not just money, but how to deal with these kinds of things. And at the time, one of my favorite books was a book called The Cheapskate Monthly by Mary Hunt, which is a little pocket book if you think about it, because it's like a little half paperback book. Easy read. The gist of it is she had gotten herself into about $111,000 worth of of debt that was just from a shopping obsession for her, and she hid it from her husband and all that stuff, and just the shame of that. And she did not file bankruptcy. She was determined to get herself out of that spot, and it took about 11 years, and she got herself out of it and learned and all that kind of stuff. And one of the things that was cool about that book was it taught you how to deal with creditors. If like, she basically gave you a script on how to deal with creditors. Like, she would say, my name is so and so, I know I owe XYZ on this account number. And what she would do is it would include a check, because these people try to call and try to get you on some kind of a payment plan, and you don't have to adhere to that payment plan, especially if you can't afford it. So let's say you would start out at $25, send them the check, and at the bottom of the letter you would say, in knowing, like, just know that in when you deposit this check, this puts us into a contract that I will pay you X amount each month. And you start low, $25 or whatever. And sometimes they reject it, send it back, say, whatever. And so you up it by another $25. So now it's the same letter, only it says, here's this $50 check. Just know that once you deposit this check, we are in a contract that I pay you $50 a month. And it worked for me at least 80% of the time. So that way I didn't have to pay a bunch of, and I was doing that even before my husband and I had filed bankruptcy, but it ended up being about $800 worth of bills going out for just vendor debt. And lesson learned. That's how that works. But so Mary Hunt, the Cheapskate Monthly, and then I was flying to Iowa to visit family. And in the airport, I came across another one called The Automatic Millionaire by David Bach, Bach, I believe. I keep pulling out my hair. And that one just taught what he called the latte factor, which was just, stop buying that one cup of coffee on the way to work and make your own coffee. Take that $2 and some change and put it into a snowball effect to pay off your bills. So take that X amount of money and put it into the, first bill, pay that off, take that money from how much it would be that bill plus your latte factor, put that in the next bill, and they call it a snowball. And also, if you have like a job where you have a match of some sort, like my husband, he works at Airgas, which is a dry ice plant, and they match 2.5% of the first 5%. So he has to at least put in 5% into his stuff to be able to get the 2.5% match. And what the gist of that was is that, if the earlier you start, let's say you're in your 20s, the earlier that you start, the better off you'll be. So let's say you put in a total of $50 a month at, let's say, 8% return at 20, 21, and only put until you're 40 by the time you're 65 years old for a retirement account, IRA or Roth or something like that. You should have over $1 million. And then the terms change when you're 30. At 30, you have to be put 150, I think it was $151 a month. Same semantics of at least 8% return on your Roth. And they recommend Roth because it's after taxes and you don't have to pay anything out when you retire. And so you have to put $150 in, and then, but at that point, because you're 30, you have to go up till 65 paying the same thing. You can't stop at 40 and just let it kind of vest and roll over. And if you're 40, then it goes up to $549, and then, on and on and on and on. So I learned some of that, and then about 3 years ago, I found Dave Ramsey, which is more of a Christian-based financial book, and that was really about not just budgeting, but he covered all of it. Yeah, there are some Christian principles in there, but it really isn't a book to be like, if you aren't Christian, you can still deal with this book, or at least get things from this book. And in finding Dave Ramsey, I found other things, as far as there's a gentleman that's within his network called Chris Hogan. And so there's a book called Retire Inspired. Well, I'm 49, so I'm getting kind of on the other side of all the stuff after, doing some of the investing and things. But the Dave Ramsey book does help out with budgeting and all these different things. So, that's another good one. And currently, I believe if you go onto DaveRamsey.com, they have a $10 sale for all of his books right now. I bought at one of the $10 sales, there was a business book by one of the chicks that writes with him, or at least within his network, because Chris Hogan also writes within his network. And I can't remember her name, unfortunately, but the book was called Business Boutique, and it was supposed to help women get ahead in business and different things about following your dreams and all that kind of stuff. And since I own a shop, it interested me. But what I found is, as I was reading it, is that anybody could, it's not just for women, it's for anybody. A dude could read it and get all kinds of cool things, as far as ideas and things like that. So yeah, those are the things. Like the Business Boutique is the one that I was reading. I had read all the other ones before, but this is the one I was reading. And sometimes I need like a refresher course, especially with Dave Ramsey's stuff, because there's 7 steps to getting you either out of debt and then moving on to the different things you need to do for yourself to get you financially, well. And ever since I've been doing that, we haven't had any problems. Even when we had tight times, it was still, you still went with the principles of what to do and how to do it to keep yourself well financially. Which has been a good thing for us, because during this pandemic, we were, by the grace of God, thankful to pay some bills off. We refied the house to get money out for the down payment on some land so we can start homesteading. And so, we had good things happen during this pandemic, as opposed to, being food insecure or anything like that. Now, you change up what you're doing. Like, I was buying a lot of, like, beans and rice and things like that, just in case, because I know the meat packing plants have had problems, because we went to Sam's Club on Sunday, and it was pretty dismal as far as meat. But I had gotten a few things ahead of time, and even if we get down to nothing, we'll be able to figure it out. I'm really not that worried right now. So, but I'm back at it, back to work as of tomorrow. I'm not scared. I'm not worried. I'm not fearful. I have my PPE. I have stuff for the clients themselves. The shop has been sanitized top to bottom. I'm a day ahead of schedule, so technically I'll be, unlawful for a day because of, I honestly thought it was opening on the 14th and not the 15th. So I booked people for tomorrow. Not a lot of people, but enough, because I have to have provisions between clients to be able to make sure I can sanitize and clean and things like that. So this is my last day. I just got to get the shop back together. I'm glad I woke up at 8:40 something, just because that's probably what I'll be getting up normally anyway. Set my alarm for 8:30. No matter how much I'm trying to fall asleep, and granted it's probably because the TV's on, but no matter how much I try to fall asleep, I still don't end up going to bed till like 1:30 or 2, which is, even when I'm working, it's just normal. I'm a night owl. So, but I'm ready for it. I'm ready to get back to a routine, back to the grind, back to, some kind of reality. Carefully, mind you, because of COVID still, but I'm ready to get back to it. I don't want to. I loved having that time off. I wasn't as productive as I'd like to have been. There's a few things I wanted to get done, but, kind of got a little bit of a heavy depression in the middle of it because of uncertainty. I don't do well without a routine. I have to have a routine. I have to know what's coming next, just like a child. Because I need to, keep myself going. And it was harder, obviously, and I know people have been through this, where, when you don't know what's coming next, it's hard to know what to do. And it just seems fruitless, anything else that you do, even though you're probably being productive. To me, it just felt like, ugh, binge watch something else and hang out in the bed with Duck. Duck as in my dog, my pug. But, even on top of all that, I'm still grateful that David was an essential employee enough that we could still keep our finances going, and grateful that my mom's healthy, who lives with me, and my kids are healthy, and everybody's doing, fairly well. They're doing the best they can right now. So, 6 foot above ground today, so it's nothing but good. So yeah, I realize it's a slow process of what today's video, because I just woke up. But it is what it is. You guys have a good day. Be careful opening up on your businesses on your end, or opening up your, going back to work for you guys. Stay safe. Subscribe, ring the bell, and like, por favor. Have a great day.